will be perfect for that, John Clement. Lighting the unity candle and daily word reading will be Mayor Stevens. Music again, what's going on? Beautiful, Carol. Ooh,
Yeah.
awesome. Opening prayer with me, and then the music, peace, peace. Oh, I love that one too.
You know
Awesome,
it?
Carol, I do. Guided meditation, the talk will be about being peace today. Welcome to first-time visitors and guests. Opening affirmation, Mary Jean. Music again, Peace Train, another great choice, Carol. Blessing the offering and closing announcements, Mary Jean. And then the prayer for protection, Mary Jean. And as people leave, Carol will be praying for us. Any questions?
Do you want to add welcome table to your and here?
What do you mean? Oh,
I
go
mean,
to the welcome
unless
table?
they're just done blind,
What?
but they won't see
Are
it,
you
but we're
still-
fully staffed here.
Are you having the meeting
I am.
today at 12:30?
Go ahead and announce it,
All
but
right.
there might not be anybody there but me.
Well, that's okay.
You already know.
I'll show up just in case.
And where will that be?
The listening tree.
Yeah.
The listening tree, welcome.
Okay.
But we got everybody really understanding what to talk about out there. If you want to just bring that up. It's the Holy Land, Shara's class, or the highlights.
I think we have that. I wish Kathy would get here, so
Yeah, I know. She texts me, she's not here. But all the extras are ready to talk about it.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you all.
Wonderful.
Mary Jean, good question. I know a friend of mine had sister talk to you about the marriage. It's supposed to be next
I've
week.
already spoken to the several times.
Do you know if it's a Saturday or Sunday?
It's a Sunday. It's at 3 o'clock.
Oh, he's telling me Sunday.
I mean, we couldn't do it on Saturday, and he decided it needed to be right away. So I don't know what the rush was, but he said
Well,
it's his decision. I mean, I want to get going. It's going to be on Sunday.
I'm really disappointed that.
Yeah, I know. I said you couldn't.
Now lets me know.
All right.
The battery charge.
Yeah, I'd like some of those brownies.
I have them. I have them.
Okay, right out.
I have them.
I'm excited. I love Walmart.
That was very beautiful, Carol. It puts us in such the mood. Good morning, Unity of Tustin. To all of you in person and joining us online, there is such richness here today. And wherever the people are watching online now and in the future. But people that are here, we know and love our phones. We feel a little bit lost without them, but we do not want to hear them ring for the next hour and a half or so. So please silence your cell phones so as not to interrupt the service. We are very pleased today to have Craig Stephen Phillips as the representative of our spiritual ministry team with us today. And we do look forward to your inspiration for us. Carol Roman is our featured musician today. A genuine crystal treasure right here in our community. Reverend Shara has a book study coming up called What Do We Do with Evil? Some of you may know Richard Rohr, contemplative Christian in New Mexico, has the Center of Action and Contemplation. And he talks a lot about sin and evil in a very brave, relevant way. I'm 95% through the book. It's kind of given me chills about how revelatory. I would love many, many people in this community to read it, not because we're into sin, but it's just what he says is so, oh, I get it. So Reverend Shara is using Richard's book. It's called The World, the Flesh, and the Devil. What do we do with evil? We do have a limited number of copies in the bookstore, and it's also very available on Amazon. The sessions will be an hour and a half long, exploring peace through meditation, prayer, lectio divina, and discussion. It's 3 Thursdays. Write the dates down if you think you might make it. March 31st. Is the first Thursday from 11:30 to 1. We're doing, for the classes, she's offering trust-based pricing, which she wrote here is pay what the group is worth to you based on what you can contribute, keeping in mind that 50% of the proceeds will be donated to a Ukrainian humanitarian aid decided by the group. And good news, we already have had a leader in Kathy Corner leading our ambassadors, and Kathy Corner has also graciously stepped up to include this team with the ushers and ambassadors to lead our garden setup ministry. Yes. This will benefit us all, and Mary Jean is the first to say, yeah, phew. We are looking for folks to join a team to assist with setup and tear down when we are in the garden. If you don't know Kathy Corner, just ask the person next to you. They will point her out. She's very well known and loved. Side to our many. And feel like John Selby has been in the future for a long time because he was postponed. But John Selby's Shaka workshop is in 2 weeks. April 1st and 2nd, a Friday and Saturday. If you are not familiar with him, he's the author of our Adventure in Faith book, and chakras are his passion. It will be very experiential. It will occur here in the sanctuary. It'll be our first live event since COVID, so in 2 years. And there are 3 tickets left on Eventbrite, and if there's a huge horde, we will be inviting him back. And we are starting to have very much more regular new member orientations. The first one we're offering online Thursday, April 7th at 6:30 p.m., not a.m., led by Reverend Blair Tabor. So the purpose is to learn what it means to be a member here at Unity of Tustin. There is a sign up at the table just if you go out the door and turn right. There are many flyers to look at and say, wow, we've got a lot doing. Where do I participate next? And if you're not a member, we'd love to have you explore that here and see whether that's the right thing for you. We are also, a new thing emergent in our community is a prayer vigil for peace in Ukraine. That will be Wednesdays every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., starting this week, until there is peace in the world everywhere, I believe. We'll see. Hosted by the prayer chaplains, be a time of silent prayer and meditation. Stop in at your convenience a few minutes or for however long you feel called to hold the sacred space, envisioning peace in Ukraine. And now Jean-Claude will sing Surely the Presence.
1, 2. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Thank you, Jean-Claude. I am Mary Stevens, prayer chaplain, and the word for today is positivity. The Bible quote is from Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, think about these things. Not whatever is annoying, whatever is irritating, whatever bothers you, and whatever is wrong. Every gardener knows that blooms grow best in good soil. And before planting, it's good practice to pull the weeds, prepare the soil, and give the seeds the optimal conditions in which to grow. So the same we tend our consciousness, pulling the weeds of worrisome and unforgiving thoughts, denying their power, creating a fertile environment for new positive thoughts to grow through regular prayer and meditation. When I touch that place of infinite stillness and peace, I affirm wholeness, prosperity, happiness, security for my life. Like bright, beautiful flowers, these positive thoughts bloom and grow in my consciousness. And the affirmation is, I plant seeds of positivity and harvest joy. So let's say that together. I plant seeds of positivity and harvest joy. Lighting the Christ candle in all of us. Yes. Lighting all the Christ candles. But not the flowers, okay. Yes. So the Christ shines in all of us, and especially in our positive thoughts. I'll save that one for later. Thank you.
You know, as Carol was playing this, most of you, or some of you at least, know that it's a song by Marvin Gaye called What's Going On. I could have easily read those lyrics as the opening prayer today. But I have another prayer that I'm going to read that most of you are familiar with. I'd ask everyone to close their eyes. This is called the Peace Prayer, actually. And most of you know it as the Prayer of St. Francis. Its original title was actually the Peace Prayer, written about the time of World War I, actually. I'm going to speak a little bit more about that during the Dharma talk. So let's close our eyes. All of us are familiar with these words, but let's hear these words fresh and new. You know, the power of any teaching that lasts, that goes on, is its power to touch us in the time that we are living in. And certainly this prayer and these words, for me, are the prayer for our time. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring love. Where there is offense, let me bring pardon. Where there is discord, let me bring union. Where there is error, let me bring truth. Where there is doubt, let me bring faith. Where there is despair, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, let me bring your light. Where there is sadness, let me bring joy. O Master, let me not seek as much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in self-forgetting that one finds. It is in pardoning that one is pardoned. It is in dying that one is raised to eternal life. In honor of Father Esther Boquerel,
The next song I'm going to play is called Peace, Peace. It's by jazz composer, pianist Bill Evans. It's a long piece. I've shortened it. I ask that you just close your eyes and feel the peace.
Let's go and have the lights down, Tony, if we can. As we come to meditation, as we come to our meditation of peace this morning. Listen to these words as we begin from the spiritual teacher, Gangaji. Be still. It takes no effort to be still. When your mind is still, you have no name. You have no past. You have no relationships. You have no country. You have no spiritual attainment. You have no lack of spiritual attainment. There is just the presence of being, which is peace itself. Is there peace here this morning? Look very deeply. Is there peace in the space that we're sharing together? Notice there's no conflict here. We've been given this great gift of being able to come together for meditation, for community, and be at peace. There's no conflict here. This is a great gift. There are millions over in Ukraine and in other areas of the world who would give anything for this luxury this morning. So we will hold the peace for them. We will hold the space of loving kindness and compassion and peace for those that cannot do it for themselves now. This morning we're going to do a meditation which I regularly do with the Tao tribe, but I've never done at Unity before. We're going to use a mantra in our meditation. A mantra is like a prayer, a few syllables that helps the mind focus on peace. It helps our awareness to become very, very present now. And the mantra that we're going to use in our meditation this morning is Om Shanti. Shanti is the Sanskrit word for universal peace. I always say Shanti, that word is almost as beautiful as the feeling or the depth of peace that it invokes. When we get to the point in our meditation where we introduce the mantra, for those of you that may be new to this kind of meditation, we're just going to bring it to the mind like a prayer. I always say like calling the name of an old friend. And let your awareness be absorbed in the mantra, Om Shanti. You don't need to time it with your breathing. Sometimes it will be aligned, but that's not necessary. Just be absorbed in the sound, the vibration, which is peace itself, universal peace, the peace that surpasseth all understanding. And as we come to the mantra, let's let our bodies, the invitation again, to be very, very still this morning. And in that stillness, bring awareness for a moment to your listening. Listen very deeply. Listen as if with every cell in your body to the silence and peace that is here with us this morning. Let there be a shift from listening to the voice in your head and being caught up in your thinking, and instead be at ease in the silence that's here. And as we continue to listen deeply together, bring awareness now to your breathing. Feel the breath of peace and breathe it in and back toward the back of your rib cage. Breathe fully open to that gift that the divine is giving you this morning. And as you breathe out, let go. Let go of everything that is not right now. Let go of any anxiety or fear or worry that you're carrying, any problems that you carried here this morning. Let go into peace. And now I'll invite you to just simply get a sense of lifting your interior gaze slightly. Kind of like you're sitting in the middle of your head, looking through your forehead into the space of a big open sky. The sky of peace. And as we gaze there now, we're going to introduce the mantra of peace to the mind. We're only going to repeat it for just a short while until I say, let the mantra go. So really give yourself to this practice this morning. See what happens. When you notice that your awareness has drifted off into thinking, which it will, this is not a problem. This is good news. Something in you has woken up to the fact that you've gone away. At that moment, incline back. Rest again even more deeply in the mantra as you begin to repeat internally now. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. No, internally. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. The sound from the inside of your mind, not repeating it out loud. Om Shanti. 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 Very gently now let the mantra go and simply rest in the peace that has arisen through the repetition of the mantra. Rest and listen to the peace in this space. Very gently now, for those that are called, I'll ask you to bring your right palm up over the center of your chest, over your heart, making contact with your open heart. Traditionally, you can also fold your hands in a prayer position with the back of your hands touching, or even use your fingers to point and touch the heart. I like the palm. And let your awareness now begin to flow into the area of your heart. And because our breathing is smooth and even from our meditation, feel now that you have an opening in the middle of your chest, and you can draw your breath as peace through that opening into your heart. Breathe open. As you breathe out, feel that peace radiating from your heart through the entire field of your being. Breathing peace. Being peace. As you draw your next in-breath, feel now as well that your breath is infused with a great compassion. And breathe compassion through your chest into your heart for yourself. As I always say, compassion for me is this knowing that I am doing the best that I can given my level of awareness right at this moment. If this is true for me, this is true of every person that we meet, no matter how harshly we may judge them. They are doing the best that they can. Breathe that kind of compassion into your heart this morning. As you breathe out, feel it radiate from your heart through the entire field of your being into every cell. And finally, feel that your in-breath is infused with a great loving kindness, Maitri, and breathe loving kindness into your heart for yourself. Nothing to fix or change this morning. Breathe loving kindness exactly for yourself as you are. As you breathe out, feel it radiating from your heart through the entire field of your being. And now feeling that our heart is overflowing with loving kindness, compassion, and peace, on your next out-breath, radiate it out through the field of your body. like you're the sun radiating a clear white light out into the field around you. And for those that have a hard time visualizing, don't worry about it. Just feel it and intend it to be, and it will be. And let's breathe it out further still this morning. Breathe this light. Breathe it out and into the hearts of every person that is here with you meditating this morning. Feel it enter their hearts and surround their bodies with the light of loving kindness, compassion, and peace. As you breathe in, you'll easily be able to feel that you can breathe that light from every heart here back into your own, which will increase your feeling of loving kindness, compassion, and peace within. And this morning, let's radiate it out beyond the space we're sitting in. Just radiate it out and around the entire planet, surrounding Mother Earth in this energy of loving kindness, compassion, and peace. As you breathe in her energy, breathe in her reply. And as we breathe out collectively again from around Mother Earth, let's breathe this light down into the hearts of all of those who are suffering so greatly in Ukraine. Without needing to visualize anything, let's simply hold all of those that are suffering this morning in this field of peace. Loving kindness, compassion. Widen your compassion, if you can, to include the Russian soldiers that are on the ground there. Widen your peace to include the leadership in Moscow. And in this field of peace now, hold all sentient beings, that all beings may know this peace that we are feeling at this present moment. As you breathe in again, breathe that light back into your own heart now. And feel that your being, your heart is radiant with loving kindness, compassion, and universal peace, Shanti. That you are an ocean of that light, radiating that light to all who cross your path. And let's listen to this poem as we continue to feel that peace throughout the service. This poem from Thich Nhat Hanh. Peace is every step. The shining red sun in my heart. Each flower smiles with me. How green, how fresh all that grows. How cool the wind blows. Peace is every step. It turns the endless path to joy. I invite everyone to relax in this energy as I say a few words of Dharma this morning. We spent quite a while in meditation. It is my feeling more and more it is not important the words that are spoken, but the depth that we dive into so that we can cultivate this peace in our life and bring it into a world in need. Many of us are wondering now, what can I do for a world that appears to have gone mad? We see the images of the war in Ukraine. Horrific. We can't imagine. Of course, our hearts are called to serve. We want to do something. But we realize in these moments that so much of what happens in the outer collective is beyond our control. In fact, most of it is. In our own personal lives, there is a reflection of that turmoil. As I talk to people, as I give Dharma talks, I feel so deeply the uncertainty of the people that I meet, some of them meditating for the first time. I feel the turmoil that people are going through. The anxiety is palpable. Even people who are trying to look away right now are feeling this and are being impacted by what we see. Those words, what's going on? If you feel that something is deeply turning right now and going on, you are correct. You are absolutely correct. The question arises in a person of compassion, what can I do? The answer has been given this morning in the practice that we've already done together. The practice of loving kindness, compassion, and peace. It is my feeling that what we just did and what many of you are still sitting in, this is the practice for our time. It is my fervent wish that every community, every small group that gathers, every individual that does meditation, when they come together, will do exactly what we just did for about 10 to 15 minutes. That's what we can do. There is no higher action that we can be doing than cultivating peace in our own hearts and bringing this into the world as we just did. You know, I love the science behind these kinds of meditations. Lots of research has been done the last 10, 15 years. Places like HeartMath, the scientists there are doing such great work, and in other places. So science is telling us how powerful what we just did and what many of you are continuing to do as you sit here. And so I'd like to read something. Some of you may remember this. I first read this, I think it's been at least 6 months ago. How the time flies. I'll tell you who said this or wrote this after I read it to you. This teaching is about the practice that we just did. A scientifically controlled study conducted by German researchers at the University of Kassel has shown that while the chest area of an average person emits only 20 photons of light per second, someone who meditates on their heart center and sends love and light to others emits an amazing 100,000 photons of light per second. That would be all of you right now. You are all radiating this light, whether you feel it or not. That's what we've just done. That is 5,000 times more than the average human being. Numerous studies have also shown that when these photons are infused with a loving and healing intent, their frequency and vibration increases to the point where they can literally change matter, heal disease, and transform negative events. I agree. Wow. 10 minutes of meditating on compassion, on kindness for others, and you will see its effects all day. That's the way to maintain a calm and joyous mind. From the Book of Joy, Lasting Happiness in a Changing World by the Dalai Lama. This is the answer. The Dalai Lama has said, and so many other spiritual masters have said, that in order for there to be peace in the collective, there must first be peace in the individual. This is the only way that this is going to happen. The transformation of every individual into a peacemaker. Who called peaceful people that? Jesus, yeah? All the sages, all the saints agree with this. We're looking for peace in a way that we think if we arrange the outer circumstances, we can be at peace. It actually works the opposite. Until we have peace here, we will not know peace out here. You will not know peace in your family, at your job, as you go to the supermarket, until this peace is cultivated right in your own heart. And then we all know today, don't we, the great secret? When you go out and you're radiating this, your atmosphere begins to shift to peace. Life starts to cooperate with you. It starts to be peaceful because you're peaceful here. Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching 2,500 years ago, he said that for the person of Tao, that would be all of you, the Tao is the universal intelligence that's giving rise to all this, right? Right now, it's the flow of the universe. That for the person of Tao, peace is the highest priority. And that when this person feels no peace, he said, when the peace has been shattered, how can that person be content? This is what we're feeling right now, aren't we? As we watch what's happening in the world. How can we be content? Jesus, some of you remember, is called the Prince of Peace, isn't he? This is what he taught. This is what he embodied as he moved about, and people would feel it from him. Oh, that deep peace, I want to be around that. He said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be the children of God. He's calling on all of us to be a peacemaker now. Feel that deeply. The time is now to live peace in our own life, to reconcile anger and hatred and the hostility that we see in our own lives as we move around, is to be a peacemaker. More importantly, it's to cultivate peace as we've done this morning and live it in your life. Those words from the prayer of peace that I read at the beginning. As I said, most of you know this as the prayer of St. Francis. St. Francis did not write this prayer. Its first appearance was in 1912 at the dawn of World War I. It's an anonymous prayer, but it is felt that it was written by a French priest named Father Esther Broquel. I love to say his name now. How humble and amazing is it that he gave this prayer, which was printed in a little periodical at the time, as anonymous, but it is felt that he wrote it in French. This made its way to Pope Benedict a few years later, and the rest is history. It's an amazing history how it ended up being called the prayer of St. Francis. But again, in this prayer, which I said for me is the prayer of our times, you have loving kindness meditation that we did, and this prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. And on it goes. The translation you heard today is the exact translation from Father Bruquel. It's been changed, but I love the original words. So beautiful. Can we be committed to those words as best we can? Are we committed to being peacemakers? It's not enough to wish that things will change outside. The transformation must happen in each heart and mind here. This is where it begins. Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Zen master who passed away a month ago, feel his presence so powerfully in his teachings, even more now. He was also a Prince of Peace, wasn't he? Yes. Leaving Vietnam, war-torn, as a young monk, never to return, to go into exile, and then his whole life was a teaching of peace. Living Buddha, living Christ, as he said, in his own life as he moved through the world. Thich Nhat Hanh said that the practice of nonviolence is the most important and crucial practice that we can undertake. And he said this: the surface level of just not being violent to others, that's just the basic start. That's a good start, of course. He said that the real practice, we begin to look inside at all of those dark places in our mind and in our heart where there is non-peace, maybe even violence. How many of you do violence to yourself every day by what you think about yourself? How many of you hard on yourself, expecting so much of yourself? And in this way, we inflict violence on ourselves. Adyashanti, one of my teachers, has said that spiritual people are some of the most violent people in the world. They do violence on themselves. The reason is we hold ourselves up to such a high standard. Whenever we have any humanness, we go, oh, what's the point? Look at me, I'm just miserable, you know. I'll never change. I meditate all the time, and look at me. I'm glad everybody's laughing because we need to hold this also in our good humor, don't we? We need to hold this in our enlightenment, our lightness. So this kind of violence that we look at through our meditation can be very stark. It takes a courageous heart to be able to look inside and see the dark places within where we harm ourselves, and then we bring that energy to our families, don't we? We react angrily. We get sensitive. People say something to us and we're upset for a week. It goes on and on. What I love about Buddhism is they do speak of nonviolence in terms of not inflicting violence on another human being. The rest of it is called non-harming. Same thing. It's to walk gently on the earth, to be gentle with yourself. How else can we be gentle with another human being? This is the practice that all of us are being called to if we want peace on the earth right at this time. This kind of peace is not a doing. We're already doing enough. If you want to see what our doing has gotten us, look at the outer world. No, really. All the doing we do in our life is just a distraction. We're constantly looking for a distraction so that we do not have to look at the unease in our own life, so that we can distract ourselves from the places of non-peace that we feel inside. It's great to raise our fist and say, oh, we want peace, and march for peace. And it's very difficult to look inside at the places where we need healing. And the way that that peace is cultivated is exactly as I said through the practice we did today. Thich Nhat Hanh said, through bringing awareness to those places and holding those places in yourself like a little child, he said, the places of anger, the places of trauma, the places of non-peace, by first bringing awareness to those, breathing to them, meditating, we transmute, like alchemy, we transmute that energy into peace. And then it radiates from you without you having to do anything. Here's the good news. Research has shown, as I read, 10 minutes a day of the meditation that we just did, all of you have that time. You are radiating this into your field. Your field goes out about 3 to 6 feet. Whoever comes into that field is going to feel that loving kindness, compassion, and peace. And here's the other great thing that research has shown at HeartMath. For those that practice this regularly, generally it's said in 3 days of this practice, you begin to heal your heart. First of all, right here. Literally, they have films of the average human heart. The neural pathways in our heart are completely shriveled up because we spend all our time in the brain thinking. We're completely cut off from our hearts. We can't even feel here. Through this meditation, those neural pathways in as little as 3 days begin to repair themselves, and the communication between the heart-brain begins to flow again. We stop living here and start living here because research tells us we have 100 times more intelligence here. Nobody living here could possibly inflict violence to the level we're seeing in Ukraine right now. Isn't it true? A person centered here would have a difficult time inflicting any kind of harm on another human being. The example or that which is unconscious in us is being reflected by how we treat others. A person that harms another human being, if you want to know what unconsciousness looks like, that's it. If you were conscious, you would never think of treating another human being unkindly. Isn't it true? Let alone that what's happening over there in Ukraine right now. That is the example of what unconsciousness looks like. Here's the thing. That's a part of all of us. We have to breathe open to this. As I said in the meditation tonight, we that are on the spiritual path, and we did this morning, we have the luxury right now in our peace to hold those that cannot do this for themselves anymore. Do you hear that? They are too busy trying to survive to get to the border of another country. They don't have time to even go to their churches, which are bombed out. So, what can we do? We can hold them in our peace. And we can know to the depth of our soul that that collective field that we are all one with is being impacted by our meditation together. It is the highest thing that we can be doing now. And then as you practice, when you move into your world, you live it as an example for others, not by what you say. Words, listen, if I had my way, this Dharma talk would not happen. We would just sit here in the space that we were sitting in when we first started. That's where the transformation happens. Words are good, but words entertain our mind. Breathing and meditation entertain our hearts. They bring us into the space where we can actually be of service to others. Those of you that are afraid of sitting still, confront your fear. I'm saying this to all my students. One of the reasons these practices are so powerful now is because it will give each of you the ability to navigate these challenging times with as much grace and as much courage and as much service as you possibly can. You can be of service to your family, as I said, your coworkers, your friends, by just holding this space of peace through meditation every day. And then we don't have to look out to the world hoping that someone out there will save us. I think you all know there is no politician that's going to save us now. You're all laughing. You all know that. For those of you that are still caught in that game, I invite you to wake up. Really. The spiritual game is where it's at now. Doing these practices that we were doing. Right? By sitting still, by coming to this practice, we embody and become what Jesus called a peacemaker. We embody the prayer of peace, and then we are able to bring this to everyone that we meet. For those of you that have heard these words today, I give you this Zen question. If not now, when? Many of you have heard me say this before. It sounds very provocative. I feel it passionately. We are running out of the luxury of time. Do you feel it? Yes. Many of you feel that deeply. Yes. The time is now. This is another Zen saying. The time is now to embrace this in yourself, to rise up in your courage and live the peace that you want to see in the world. Jesus is walking with you. Lao Tzu is walking with you. Thich Nhat Hanh is walking with you. The Buddha is walking with you, because the Buddha, his whole teaching was about embodying this peace. Not a future peace of nirvana, an ease and a peace in our being that impacts directly the atmosphere around us. What more do you need? What more do you want? Nothing else matters now. I'm clear about that. So when you think you don't have the time, when you start to get overwhelmed, when you start to fall maybe into despair over what you see, stop. As Thich Nhat Hanh would say, take 3 refreshing breaths of peace into your heart. What study after study has shown is that for people who practice this regularly, in 3 breaths, you can recenter into your essence. And you can carry on from there again. This takes practice. And it's worth it. I invite you all to take the question with you today. Those of you that have heard these words here and online. When you think you don't have time, when you fall into despair or think it's hopeless, ask yourself, if not now, when? If not here, where? It's up to each of us. All of you feel this, I know. Let's close our eyes as we finish and come into a state of meditation very, very simply and easily. Open to your breathing again and feel the breath so gently and easily flowing through your chest again into your heart. Feel that your breath is infused with peace. Feel and know that you already are a peaceful being. There's nothing more that you have to do. Feel that you this morning are a peacemaker. That's your highest priority now. That you are an instrument of peace. Through just the way you sit or carry yourself through your life. Breathe it in. Radiate it out. Listen. We can smile and blossom like a flower. And everyone in our family, our entire society, will benefit from our peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Good morning. My name is Mary Jean Hawes. I'm the ministry director here at Unity of Tustin. Do we have any people who are new with us today? Any visitors? Anyone? Well, you all know what you're supposed to do, and that's invite people you know. What a powerful message we've had today. What an amazing, relevant experience. And before we get to our time of giving of our tithes and love offerings, I just want to talk for a few minutes about what's coming in 2 weeks with the beginning of our meditation ministry. 2 weeks from today, we're going to start meditating before every service. It's going to start at 10:15 and end at 10:45. I wish I could tell you how long this has been on my heart. It's been a long time. And those of you that have been holding visions in your own life for a long time, and you know the whole drill you go through where you think about it and you hold this manifestation and you do all this stuff, and finally you say, okay, I'm done, I just give up. And that's when it happens, right? And so when Craig came on the scene last year, I thought, oh, this is what we've been waiting for. This is how this is going to manifest. And interestingly, April 3rd, the Sunday this starts, is when John Selby is going to be with us for the first time. Our Adventure in Faith book, of course, was all about meditation. And many, many people felt renewed by that. I just feel this is something we are deeply called to as a community. So anyway, I'm very excited about this, as you can tell. And so 2 weeks from today, we will be starting in advance of the service, so be with us. And that's part of, as we come to our time of our love offerings, our gifts, our donations, whatever you want to call it, this is part of what you're donating to. You're donating to this service today, these grounds that are a source of support for so many people. They don't maybe know what they're seeing, they just come, they think it's pretty, but some energy is drawing them here. And I believe that that will continue to be the case as we go into this next time of, as Craig put it, it's where it's spiritual. That's what's happening in the world. We have to go there now. We just don't have any other choice. So let's remember, if you have a question about how to give, particularly to become a recurring donor, that's where we would like people to begin to go, because it helps us as a church to plan, to go through those times, those summer months sometimes where, you know, attendance is a little spotty. So ask me about what you can do to make that happen. So let's say the love offering blessing together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And as the ushers come forward, Carol has another song for us. Thank you so much, Carol. That was wonderful. Kathy let me know we have 8 visitors today. And what I feel like you guys are so lucky to have picked this Sunday to come and visit us at Unity of Tustin. I also will be out there at the kiosk. You can make a credit card donation today if you want. The kiosk has a few little quirks, so I'll just sort of show you what they are. So let's thank all of our abundance, our new people today, our people who are all with us today, and all of our gifts, our monetary gifts, our gifts of time, treasure, talent. We thank you, God, so much for all of these gifts. Amen. And before we close, I want to remind you that Kathy's Corner is going to be out at the Listening Tree. In case you're interested in becoming an usher, ambassador. She's just got a lot going on here these days. So if you're looking for a place to serve, she's the person to talk to. Our prayer chaplains will be out in the gardens as well. And we'll say the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth in peace.